Alright guys, let's hop right into this. We're going to look at 7 tips for our Alibaba suppliers to help with our negotiations. So step number 1, we're never going to want to compromise on our communication efforts towards our suppliers. We're going to want to maintain solid contact from beginning till end, so we're building constant rapport with our suppliers to leverage future negotiations in our favor. You're also going to want to approach your suppliers almost like internet dating. They don't all want your service, but you'll come to find that some of the smaller suppliers will give you a better deal than some of the bigger ones, because the bigger ones only want to work with people that are doing tens of thousands of dollars in transactions every time, and the smaller ones will give you a lower minimum order quantity for a lower price sometimes. That's actually happened to me. You want to be clear, concise, and to the point, and make the suppliers reply to you very easy. You don't want to set them up to answer a giant question that they have to type a big paragraph out, because they already are using English as a second language. So make their replies easy to you, and they will reimburse you with happiness and good quality responses. Okay? It's always best to know exactly which product you want to ask your suppliers for ahead of time, so you're not beating around the bush. Have that bundle that you've already figured out is going to be awesome to sell on Amazon. Have that already figured out so you can ask your supplier exactly what you want, and they're going to respond happily to that as well. They also want to know, what country are you from? Certain countries are more desirable for suppliers to do business with. For instance, suppliers like to do business with US customers because US customers have the highest e-commerce traffic out of anywhere in the world. They know their products are going to sell there fast, and me as a buyer is going to go back to that supplier and buy more from them. Looking at tip number 2 for you guys, we're going to want to research the actual costs of our products. So unless you know exactly the manufacturing cost that it's costing these people in China to make the product, it's going to be really hard for you to justify saying, you guys are making this for 75 cents and you're trying to charge me $3 for it. Why? Now, the best way to go around this is to just get different estimates from 3 to 5 different suppliers. That's why we want to get quotes from these 3 to 5 different suppliers, and you also want to let the other suppliers know that you're getting quotes from other suppliers, so they don't feel like they're the only one. You have other choices as well. So the suppliers know what other competitor suppliers are selling at, so don't try and undersell your suppliers a ton and say, hey, look, I can get another better deal from this supplier. He's charging me $3 and you're charging me $6. They'll smell that right away, because they do know what other competing suppliers are selling that product for. So they want to start building trust with you. And if you kind of lie to them about that, they won't like that right away. Also, guys, you want to try and record each different supplier's MOQ, shipping terms, and all that pricing information in something like Google Sheets. You can see that right here. It's a free thing. You can take it anywhere you want. Just go to Google Sheets and it's free. You can just type in the name of your supplier, the price of the shipping, the price of the unit, any extra fees associated with that, and throw that right in here. It's nice and free to use. I recommend you guys do that. And it forces you to really compare between the different suppliers and have a nice spreadsheet of that all together. Also, guys, beware of items that seem really low priced when you're scrolling through Alibaba looking for products. There's usually a catch to this. For example, they might be selling something that's lower quality than the rest of the products, and if you get a product in with low quality, you're going to start getting bad reviews if that product starts breaking for your Amazon customers. There's another reason behind this. They may only accept super large order quantities, and they may have just given you a different price that's not including some of the extra charges that go along with the production of your product as it is. They might give you an X-Works price as compared to an FOB price. And speaking of that, we're going to jump down into tip number 3 and talk about the lingo in just a second. But all in all, go ahead and ask the supplier that you feel is the best if they can at least match the price that someone else is offering you. And they'll probably be able to do that if someone else has offered you that lower price, but you like to work with them. So tip number 3, learning the lingo, guys. You're definitely going to want to learn the jargon and terminology that suppliers are using with you, so you can come off as smarter all around, and they will start to treat you with more respect. So we're going to cover some of these terms right now. Your suppliers will oftentimes leave you an EXW next to a price, and what that means is X-Works, and that's literally just the cost of the goods alone. No shipping is associated with that, so you can ask for the price and they'll say EXW $600. That means for 100 units, for example, that costs $600 alone just for the units. Okay, now that might not be including packaging and other things like that. FOB is another term that's always thrown around. This means free on board, and that's when the supplier will send a shipment to the international port, but you're going to be responsible from taking it from that international port into the United States, paying for all these customs, clearances, taxes, all these other things. And just bear with me, guys, I'm going to share with you the best strategy for getting your products in with the least amount of work. So next up is CIF. That means cost, insurance, and freight. This is used for sea shipping, and this is when the supplier pretty much pays for all the cost, insurance of your products, and the freight into the United States. There may be some customs paperwork that you need to fill out. These are things that you will just simply ask your supplier, what does all of this entail? You want to make sure you do that before you start signing any papers. Okay, now DDP is also known as door-to-door shipping. This also stands for delivered duties paid. This is the best way you guys can go about it. This is when the supplier is fully responsible for everything from their warehouse to Amazon's front door warehouse. So you want to be asking shipments to be fulfilled by this method so that you don't have to worry about any of the customs, taxes, duty fees, and you don't need an import license. This is called door-to-door shipping. Ask your suppliers for this and you will have no hassle getting your products into Amazon. I even recommend using DHL air shipping for at least maybe a small portion of your units if you're doing sea shipping. Use this air shipping to get maybe 25, 30 units into Amazon and start ranking with your product with these first units so that by the time your sea shipment comes in, you'll have some initial ranking and sales history already built up, so you'll be resupplied with your sea shipment that came in. So DHL air shipping may only take like a couple of days to arrive from China into the United States, so that's awesome. Now, tip number 4, guys, is to actually discover areas of mutual gain. You don't want to just keep taking from your suppliers. You want to learn what your suppliers' goals are so you can increase mutual gains in an agreement. And ultimately, when you're doing that, you can kind of leverage them because they start to treat you better if you're trying to help them out at the same time. So if they won't budge on price, ask kind of, what about a different method for our down payment, or can you extend the warranty on my products or something like that? Think like the supplier. They want to sell as much as possible to you, so you want to present yourself as having had a proven track record of a lot of sales. You want to let them know that the market you're about to go into, Amazon, is something that you know in and out, and like the back of your hand, you know you can beat these guys. You know you're going to get the best bundle that's going to beat out all your competition, and your suppliers will love you for that, and they're going to start paying you more respect all in all. So tip number 5 is going to be have your deposit available. This is going to be one of the best negotiating tactics out there, guys. Have at least 50 to 70% down payment available for leverage. Usually they'll ask for about a 30% down payment on your order, but literally I've used this method before and I'll say, hey, if I just pay the whole thing in full right now, can you knock like $1 or $1.25 off each of my unit prices? And they won't usually go down that far, but if I start with a big number like that, usually I can whittle them down to at least taking like 50 cents off each of my units if I just pay all up front like that. So at the end of the day, your supplier's biggest concern is about the payment and getting paid. So when you can fulfill that to them all up front, 100%, they're happy to help you out with more negotiations. This is something to address right up front so your supplier knows you're going to be an easy person to work with. There's no fiddle faddle with your payment in the long run. They know that you're going to be able to pay everything off. No problem with that, and that's going to help you shape that negotiation. Now, tip number 6 is kind of reverse psychology. Want it the least. It's funny, but usually the best deal seems to go to the person that wants it the least, or at least appears to want it the least. If you can keep a nice poker face on, your suppliers will start to act on the defense because they know that you're a big seller, you're a big person, you have other suppliers in your back pocket, and they don't want to mess with you so much, so you might end up getting the best deal out of that. And you definitely do want to have suppliers in your back pocket, in the ready, in case of deadlock. And this is pretty much going to give you peace of mind and pretty much make you come off a lot more confident knowing that you do have people in the background, so you don't have to bargain super hard with the suppliers. You can just say, maybe I'll fall back on one of my other suppliers if you're not able to fulfill this for me. So don't be afraid to walk away, guys. Now, tip number 7 is angle your approach strategically. This is all about giving your vendor a reason why you're the best customer, why you're the customer of choice. If they know you're not just a one-hit wonder, you're going to be in a really strong position. They want to build a relationship with you that you keep coming back and buying from them. You want to let them know how you're doing when you do get your products into Amazon, how fast you're selling them, and start talking about that next order even as your first order is just arriving, because you've already thought about how you're going to improve your product when you get new profits to reinvest into it. So tell them ideas that you have that you can beat the competition and why you're the best seller. Tell them about the bundles and how you're going to differentiate your products all in all. And just really be sure to pay your bill fast. What vendor does not love that? And they're going to start getting a great relationship built with you, and you're going to be able to order from them again and really start to whittle down your initial cost. So in the beginning, you might be paying something more expensive than you thought, but literally by the next time you go to reorder, you've already built a relationship with your supplier, and they're willing to give you a much less expensive price per unit on your next order and orders in the future. So I hope you guys really like these 7 tips on how to negotiate with your Alibaba suppliers. Again, guys, please leave a thumbs up so you can rewatch this and pretty much scroll right through this whenever you want. I have all these terminologies here for you guys, and just 7 tips that's going to be great for your back pocket. A lot of times people watch videos and they kind of forget what it was, so when you leave a thumbs up, you can go watch it in your recently liked videos and it'll be there for you guys. So also, if you haven't subscribed, please stay tuned for more videos and subscribe so you don't miss any of my updates. And that's going to be it for this one, guys. I'll see you real soon. Talk to you later. Peace out.